Just when you thought it couldn't get any weirder, we get Slapgate, the sequel. That and a cornucopia of injuries to your first and second round draft picks highlighted this crazy Sunday. Welcome back to the show. It's Ding.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Grab your chips and salsa. We're going to break down the games from week one. We're going to talk about some injuries. We're going to talk about your strategy for waivers this week. We're going to get into it. All right, let's start off with some injuries. There were some big ones.
Come on. I'm burning. My lungs are burning.
And nobody got burned worse than Kittle owners. Their number one tight end is out on IR for the next 4 weeks. Hamstring issues. We know he's got soft tissue injury problems from before, so it's not really a big surprise. Sorry to hear that. Bowers, he's day-to-day, but remember, Pete Carroll comes from the school of liars. Used to do it all the time in Seattle. You never knew who was going to play in those games, especially at the running back position. You know what I'm talking about. So whether or not he plays week 2, totally up in the air. I bet they sit him. So you better go look at the waiver wire. Guys like Fannin, that's a top pick, or Brent Strange, another one. I would definitely go look at those guys. I don't think Bowers is going to play week 2, but you need to monitor the practice wire. Worthy's out, and Hollywood Brown took over and got 16 targets. If he's on the waiver wire, you need to go grab him. He is a top waiver ad this week. Worthy's day-to-day. He might even play with a brace. Yeah, whatever. That's not going to happen. Russell Wilson, he didn't get injured, but he injured his own team per se, all right? Those guys are playing with their heads down. Neighbors doesn't like it. It's time for the dart throw. We need to get Jackson in there. Jennings, he was hurt. He has a shoulder problem and his calf problem. Now he's back to a shoulder problem. He got his new money deal. But, you know, it's a San Fran way. As soon as they get their money, they get hurt. Really not an update. Day-to-day. Yeah, they signed Kendrick Bourne. So does that mean he's out week 2? Probably. But, you know, Jennings, he's trying to make that extra money that he got. So we'll see what happens there. Drake London, another popular guy, after getting 15 targets, then he goes down. It's a shoulder. Again, he looks more likely to come back. But, I mean, if he doesn't, Penix is going to be peppering everybody else. And Bijan was definitely, you know, the big target hog on that one. Then we've got Junkins. He finally signed his contract. We'll see if he plays week 2. I'm not sure he's ready for that. I mean, Sampson looked pretty good, and he's a premium waiver ad at running back for this week. Cade Stover, kind of a little known name, but who is he? He is Dalton Schultz backup. With him out, the Texans are looking for somebody to throw to. I think Schultz, he gets a couple of extra targets. That might be somebody to look on the waiver wire, say, if you lost Kittle and you can't get guys like Fannin. Since we've been touching on a couple of the waiver ads that I think are premiums this week, let's go ahead and jump in and look at those real quick. I think Jones and Penix are excellent ads if you're looking for a quarterback, especially if you have Russell Wilson. Ouch, did you really draft that dude? At tight end, Fannin, yeah, he's good. Brent Strange. Juwan Johnson got peppered with a lot of targets. He seems to be Rattler's number 1 guy. And then at wide receiver, Keenan Allen. Now, if he's on the waiver wire, then you didn't listen to my show because I have him in the top 40 and he is crushing it for my team. Hollywood Brown, obviously. Quentin Johnson, everybody's talking about him. I know a lot of people love Quentin Johnson. I didn't. That was a bad on my part. But so if he's on the waiver wire, you need to go get that guy. Obviously, he's a premium. And then Booty. I'm not a Booty fan. Let me take that back. You know, I am a Booty fan, but I'm not a Booty fan. But in this particular case, I think it's a one-off. We'll see. I could be totally wrong here. I mean, May is all over the place right now. And then at running back, Sampson's really the one. There's Junkins too. I think Sampson's going to have it for now. He's getting, plenty of opportunity, but the line is just not creating holes for him. He didn't have a whole lot of success, and it was against Cincinnati. That's not really a good run team. So, all right, let's start off the week 1 recap with Carolina and Jacksonville. The big question that got answered was ETN or Bigsby. It's ETN. Wow, over 100 yards. And Bigsby, what did he get? Well, he got a free one-way trip to Philly. Now, he might get a ring out of it. So if I'm Bigsby, I'm thinking, this might be actually good for me. Trevor Lawrence, he didn't look that great. I mean, if you can't get Brian Thomas, but 1 catch off of 7 targets, that's pretty bad. I mean, they had to manufacture a run just to get him a touchdown. Thomas, you got to be worried, brother. Young on the other side of wow, he looks like the first half of 2024. He's missing throws. Even Tet, who is amazing, wasn't getting a whole lot of quality targets. I'm not worried about Tet. I'm still going to start him, but yeah, there's some issues there. Now, Chuba, he looked pretty good. He got the lion's share of the targets as well as the work on the ground. Dottle was awful. So, I mean, Chuba, he's safe, and you're going to start him every week. Brent Strange, he got some legit targets. I think he's a tight end 1. He got a touchdown vultured, obviously, but, I mean, he looked pretty good. Hunter had, a lot of targets. I think way too many. But, he looked decent. He just doesn't have anything after the catch. Once he catches it, he kind of looks like I'm not sure what to do with my hands kind of thing. Where do I go? And then he gets tackled. He gets like 2 yards. Now, the Carolina defense, that's definitely one to target. So whoever you've got going up against them next week, you want to play all those starters if you can. The second game is the Giants at Washington. Wilson, man, that dude is terrible. It's time for a dart throw. Let's get Jackson in there. All right. Neighbors, he was frustrated. Everyone was frustrated. Wan'Dale Robinson, he was kind of a bright spot for the team. Lots of targets there at least. The running game was atrocious. Everybody's like hyping up Scatabo because he made a block. And then after that, he was just getting pummeled. Did anyone see him get crushed in the red zone? Yeah, let's not get, too hyped about that. Wilson's going up against Dallas, and he's supposed to be the starter. Fire up the Dallas defense is looking good, everybody. On the flip side, Washington, they weren't crisp on this one, all right? The pass game was kind of off. Obviously, McLaurin spent, the entire summer whining about his contract, so that didn't help. Debo looked amazing. You need to start that guy. He's looking like prime Debo. Let's hope he doesn't get injured. Obviously, he's got that injury past. Ertz, he was looking more like a tight end too, but a touchdown dependent kind of guy, but he did get a TD in this one, so that's awesome. And then, of course, the big question was Eckler, JCM. Well, they started off Eckler was kind of like he's just a rookie. And then bam, all of a sudden, JCM just crushing it. So you need to start JCM every week. That kid's just going to get better and better. All right, Arizona versus New Orleans.
Wake me up if someone shoots at us or that door gets sucked off its rails.
Sloppy game between the Cards and the Saints, as expected. Murray, one deep shot. The rest of it's all short to medium. His average depth of completion, not good, just about 5 yards. Connor versus Benson. Everyone's kind of raving about Benson because he had that big run, but Connor got all the red zones. He got the touchdown. They're both plotters. Connor didn't get his average 5 per carry like he normally does, but oh well. I think he still looked better. I wouldn't go running to get Benson. Harrison, McBride, they'll be fine. They got peppered with targets, so they're still good to go. In New Orleans, it's Kamara and not a whole lot else. Rattler, 47 attempts, but he couldn't get a touchdown. That tells you everything you need to know. Juwan Johnson, he got a few. Olave, as well as Shaheed, they got some good targets. You're going to continue to start those guys, especially if Juwan Johnson is on the waiver wire and you're looking for a replacement for Kittle. All right, going from one of the worst games to one of the best games, Pittsburgh going into the Jets. Yep, the prodigal son has returned, and all he wanted to do is beat anyone that is associated with the Jets, and he did in spectacular fashion. Rodgers is back, 4 touchdowns. You need to keep starting him. He loves his new team. As far as the whole Pittsburgh running back thing, it's been answered. It's worn, but not by much, all right? He got the red zone touches, which is awesome. It was kind of a 60-40 split, which is not great, but Caleb Johnson was nowhere, so that's good. He got the quality targets. He got some yards. I would still start Warren unless, something happens to him. I think he's still the RB1 there. Pittsburgh wide receivers, DK, 4 catches, 83 on 7 targets, got his touchdown, which is good. Austin got a touchdown on 6 targets. The tight end question, that got answered, but not in the way I thought. Jonnu Smith, 6 targets, but he caught 5 for 15. 3 yards a catch? Wow. And he did get a touchdown. He's the red zone guy. So, that's who Rodgers is looking to. So, Jonnu Smith, if he's on the waiver wire, touchdown dependent, but a good pickup. Fields, wow. He did exactly what I said he would. Run. Now, he did a very good job of that. He got 2 touchdowns. He threw a touchdown. That was on a broken, busted play to Wilson, but, he did get a touchdown on that one. Otherwise, he didn't really look like a good pocket passer. Wilson did better than I expected, but again, it was on that broken coverage. Pittsburgh doesn't really have a good secondary. So if you are targeting them from a defense perspective, your offense, you've got some wide receivers going against Pittsburgh. Feel confident you're probably going to get a touchdown against those guys. Let's put that concern to bed. Breece Hall is the guy, but Allen, he's still getting red zone touches. What is going on? Breece Hall over 100 yards, and then, for the touchdown, they give it to Allen. That just makes no sense. I know you're all pissed. I can feel it through the radio right now. No other receivers on this team are really viable. It's just really centered around Fields, his inability to throw. And then, of course, you got Wilson, who hopefully will get a touchdown. I don't see a bright future for anyone on the Jets. And I really like Taylor as a rookie tight end, but unfortunately, he only got 1 look. All right, let's talk about Las Vegas versus New England. My biggest letdown probably this week was Drake May. unable to make the throws happen, 46 attempts. That's really good volume. Sub 300 yards, only 1 touchdown against the Raiders, and they have a poor secondary, so that's concerning. 8 targets to Henry, that's good. 4 for 66, he's a tight end 1. 8 targets to Booty, we talked about him already. 7 targets to Diggs. He caught 6 of 57, but didn't get a touchdown, so that was kind of that was a bummer. And then 7 targets to Douglas, who only caught 2 of them for -2 yards and a touchdown. That is the craziest stat I have ever heard. How do you catch 2 balls for -2 yards and get a touchdown? Did you back in? Do they give you like negative yards for going backwards into the end zone? Not that I recall, but I mean, hey, the NFL is changing rules all over the place. Henderson, Stevenson, are you kidding me? These guys were awful. Travion Henderson, 5 for 27. Stevenson, 7 for 15. I still have questions. Geno, they look good. 362 yards passing, a touchdown and interception. That's pretty good. He probably should have had another touchdown there. He targeted Bowers a ton, obviously, before, Bowers went out of the game. And then he targeted Myers. Myers looked good. Threw a big ball to Thornton, which was nice. So, there was a lot of Thornton hype. He only got 4 targets, but he still looked really good. Now that Bowers is out, Mayer came in, caught 4 for 38, which is about kind of standard for Mayer, but he might see more if Bowers doesn't play next week. So he could be somebody you could target off the waiver wire as well. Janty, wow. He could not have proved me more right. 19 rushes for 38 yards. Are you serious? You could basically fall forward for 2 yards, a guy that big. He did get a touchdown. He did a rolling left move on a 2-yard plunge. He caught 2 balls for 2 yards. So basically, Janty is 2. Now let me guess this. Doesn't he wear the number 2? Weird. Okay, I don't know. This is kind of like Twilight Zone type stuff here. He wasn't dominant. I think the O-line is hurting for Las Vegas. I really don't see Janty having a big game unless he's up against a really weak defense. So watch out. I know he was your first round pick, but you've got to be worried. All right, Miami at the Colts. Whoa. Miami is a train wreck, and everybody's thinking the same thing. Tua, you need to lay off those quarter-pound cheeseburgers, bro. You're looking a little bit big. 14 of 23 for a touchdown and 2 interceptions. And that touchdown was pathetic to A-Chain in garbage time. Did he get another concussion? I don't know. There's talk that he might have, but this is going to be a terrible season for him, for Hill, A-Chain, who got peppered. I'm still worried about these guys and their production. Late garbage time, it might be the only way you get points out of any of these key guys. I mean, A-Chain's usage looked good. Hill was terrible. 6 targets, 4 catches for 40. That's not good. It's like last year. Tua just could not see Hill. He doesn't have deep ball presence anymore. I just don't know what to think. I think if you've got Hill, maybe try to trade him, Trade while you've got the chance. Otherwise, this could be a really down season. He looked pissed on that sideline. Now, if he goes to Kansas City, look out. I know the rumors are out there. Ollie Gordon, that's a bummer. Here's an opportunity. You're getting your butt kicked. You could get the rookie some time. And what do? You give him 2 attempts. The coaching in Miami is awful. The entire culture there is awful. Just avoid these guys. Like I said, sell high on Hill. Or really, it's more like sell low on Hill. On the flip side, the Colts, man, they couldn't have looked any better. Jones, I mean, comeback player of the year. What is going on, man? JT's people, they're not happy. Why? He vultured 2 touchdowns from JT. I mean, seriously, 1-yard punches. Taylor owners have to be just absolutely insane right now. But he could not have thrown any better. I told you Pittman was going to be beast. 6 for 80 and a touchdown. That's awesome. Obviously, Warren, he's looking like a tight end 1. He might finish top 3 if he gets this kind of usage. 9 targets, catching 7 of those for 76. That is awesome. After that, I mean, the rest of the team, that's your star players. There's nobody else getting any love right now on the Colts. All right, in the Battle of Ohio, where my Gen Alpha's out there, Ohio. All right, Cincinnati, wow, their O-line it's really, really bad. Burrows, his MVP season is already over. Yeah, I know it's week 1, but he ain't going to catch a couple other quarterbacks who had some big weeks. And we'll talk about those guys later, but it's over for him. He's not getting 5,000 yards. I was wrong on that. I was hoping he was going to, but no. Chase, awful game for him. Lots of pressure coming from Myles Garrett. The Browns definitely had it dialed up. I don't even know how the Bengals won. Oh, yeah, I know. Paging field goal kickers. Can anyone hit, a 35-yarder too soon? I don't know. But Chase, he's in trouble. Chase Brown? Nice usage, but I mean, 21 rushes, 43 yards and a touchdown. Eesh, it's like Janty numbers, man. Caught 2 for 25. They are home to Jacksonville next week. So that should be much better. Well, we think. We'll see what happens, but I hope it should be a bounce back week for the entire Cincinnati team. If not, ruh-roh. All right. Flacco, he looked pretty good, man. 45 attempts, 290 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. One of them wasn't even his fault. For the running back thing, that's a head scratcher. It looks like it's going to be Samson moving forward, but let's take a look at Samson's numbers real quick. 12 for 29. That's really, really bad. Okay. I mean, that's not good at all. 8 catches, though, with some more yards. Okay, so that's much better. Ford, he looked terrible. I mean, I don't think he's going to start. Judkins, who knows? So if Samson's out there, at least for volume, you got to go get him, but it's still a question mark. Judy, 5 for 66. Those are pretty good numbers, from your starting wide receiver in a PPR league. Tillman, 5 for 52 and a touchdown. You hope that Judy gets a touchdown and kind of elevates him for next week, but, those numbers kind of make sense. Fannin was the big winner. He got loaded up with targets. He led the team with 9. Okay. And Njoku, I don't even know where that guy was. I mean, he got 6 targets, but only 3 catches. Fannin, he's on the waiver wire. You're going to have to go get him. All right. Let's talk about the Bucs versus Atlanta. Mayfield, 3 touchdowns, but only 167 yards. He looked awful in the first half, if you didn't notice. Almost 40 yards on the ground. Decent fantasy day, but boy, I would have loved to see more yards through the air. And so would have guys like Evans, right? All right. Irving, man, he just looked really bad. The Atlanta front 4 is pretty stout. He got a touchdown, all right, but 14 carries for 37. That's not turning any heads, all right. 4 catches for 8 yards. Again, 2 yards a catch. What in the world, man? Otten, dude, he was gone. Was he playing? I think he's still hurt. I really do. I'm not sure I would start him next week. Igbuka, man, he lived right up to the hype, guys. 4 for 67 and 2 touchdowns. Evans drew most of the coverage away from him. I think there's regression coming. He's not going to get 2 touchdowns every week, but I mean, this is a guy you need to be starting. Penix, he looked pretty good. 42 attempts, 298 yards and a touchdown, 21 and 1 on the ground. That's really good. Bijan, amazing as always. I really don't need to say anything about him, but he was only averaging 2 yards a carry, but his catches, 6 for 101. Oh, baby. That's why he's the number 1 guy. Now, the loss of London, that's huge. We hope he comes back. Where the target's going to go is the big picture if London doesn't play. And you need to watch his practice regimen this week. He had 15 targets before he left. Wow, that dude's going to be the wide receiver 1 if he can come back. He's day to day. So where do the targets go? Well, Pitts got a lot of targets. He caught 7 for 59. Ray McLeod, he might get a couple of those. Bijan obviously got a ton. So those are kind of your winners as far as that is concerned if London doesn't come back. But they will struggle without London. Believe me, those targets cannot be peanut butter bread, across the entire team. That's going to be tough. All right, 49ers at Seattle. Purdy, he got hurt. Kittle, hurt. Jennings, hurt. We talked about that. Purdy, I mean, way to rocky it up at the end, brother. 277 for 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Won the game. I mean, MCC, 31 touches. Huge game. But guess what? That is not sustainable. MCC is going to get hurt if he's doing 30 touches a game. You better hope and pray. He's in the ice tank after this because that's just not sustainable for a guy with that many injuries. Pearsall, 4 for 108. He's probably going to get more if Jennings doesn't come back. Kittle's definitely not going to come back, obviously. I like the Tongues kid, the guy who got the touchdown at the end. I mean, dude, he's got some elevation. He held on to that ball. Game winner. You got to give it up for this kid. He's not a big name, obviously. There's going to be more guys to go target, and we've already talked about those guys. As far as Darnold is concerned, wow. Darnold reminded me of when he was back with the Panthers. He just looked awful. But the 49ers defense, they are legit. They get a lot of pressure on him. But, I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. Darnold was terrible. No touchdowns at 150 yards. Wow. I mean, dude, look yourself in the mirror. Okay, how do we answer the Charbonnet Walker? Charbonnet, stronger, better, faster. He got the red zone looks and the touchdown, but he didn't get any targets. Walker, those owners have to be worried. Obviously, he got a couple of targets, which is nice, but none of the red zone worked. So for now, I think Charbot was winning this one, but it was a 50-50 split. JSN, what can I say? Keep starting that dude. He needs a hole on the ball, though. Kupp was a ghost, and that is a scary thing for a guy with that much talent. Darnold can't find a great possession receiver like that. All right, moving on. Denver versus Tennessee. This was an ugly game. There was a time when I thought Denver was going to lose. Let's just say it. Bo does not know week 1. Nix had real trouble. He was erratic. He was careless with the ball, but he got himself together for a win at the end. His defense kept him in it, which is, they're the top defense. Dobbins was the RB1, 16 carries for 63 and a touchdown, a couple of catches. Harvey looked fast, 6 for 70. That's great, but if Dobbins is going to get that many touches, you got to hope that Harvey picks up a touchdown on a catch or something. Otherwise, you're just not getting any love there. Sutton, he looked like a great wide receiver one with a touchdown, so continue to play him. Ingram's out, so you're probably looking for another tight end. Troutman is not your guy. And I know he's on Denver, but he's not your guy. On the flip side, Ward versus the number one defense, no surprise. Could it be any tougher for the rookie? I mean, honestly, in game number one, his boys didn't really help him. They were frustrated. His father was frustrated in the crowd. You can if you've seen that video. He didn't turn over the ball, so I give him a lot of props on that. Pollard was the RB1 with 18 to 60. He did fumble the ball, had one catch. Not a great day for Tony. The lead target guy was Ridley. He had 8, but he only caught 4 for 27. He just wasn't getting quality catches. And then you have Eyenauer, 7 targets, but he only caught 2 for 13. That's not good. So I wouldn't go rushing in to grab that guy. Tennessee is a team that you play your defense against, and you do not play starters unless you have Tony Pollard and Ridley. And even those guys, I'm worried about you if that's your, one of your 2 key starters. All right, let's talk Rams versus Houston. It was a slow start, all right, but it got good at the end. Stafford really picked it up. Puka, he's a machine. I mean, he got knocked out like twice. He's like the Terminator. But he came back, blood and all, and just dominated. Adams, he got a lot less looks, but he had a really tough cover corner on him, so I'm not surprised Puka got all the love there. Now, once again, there was no timeshare. It is Kyren Williams and Kyren Williams. Corum comes in a couple of times. It's Kyron's team. He's going to get the touchdowns. There's really no question. If you're holding on to Corum, you're praying that Kyron gets an injury because it's just not going to happen. Now, Houston, they got a solid defense. That's why they were in it for a while. But when you look at the numbers, it's scary. Chubb is the number 1 running back, but he's totally ineffective. Nico and Schultz, they tied with a team high of 5 targets. 5. Now, I know the Rams defense is decent, but 5, that's really bad. If the Texans are going to win moving forward, they've got to funnel their targets to Nico. He needs to get triple those targets, and that's not looking good. Higgins, that wide receiver rookie, he was ineffective. Hutchinson, too. A lot of hype on both those guys. In the end, you're not starting them. Now into the game that hurts me the most, watching the Lions lose to Green Bay. Micah Parsons, he's a beast. He's an O-line record. And our O-line needed to be wrecked. It was terrible, all right? Green Bay's defense is legit. Watch out if you're playing against them. Goff, they looked bad. You could tell that the Detroit Lions were missing their 2 key coaches from last year. I mean, I think I would still play all the starters for Detroit. Don't get me wrong. You're going to play all the studs on Detroit, but man, you need to temper their expectations on this one because they just look off. I know Tesla, there's a lot of hype on him. Great catch, dude, by the way. Love this kid. He's going to be awesome for us, but he's not going to get a touchdown every game. He's touchdown dependent. He's probably going to get maybe a couple of catches. So don't be blowing all your fab money on him. I mean, the guy's a dart throw at this point unless somebody gets hurt. On the other side, Love was not impressive. His defense was more impressive, but Love really wasn't. He's not a top quarterback, not in my opinion. Jacobs, still a top 10 running back. He gets it done on the ground. He just wears you down. The guy's a beast, all right? He's a mini Derrick Henry. He's not Derrick Henry, obviously. Golden, wow, he face planted. I don't even know where that kid was. All the hype and none of the targets. It was just terrible. Reed, flash a little wide receiver, 1 status there, got a touchdown. But then, now his foot's hurt. Standard. Watch his practice. He's just not at 100%. Kraft, that was not a surprise. He's going to get a lot of targets. I expect more from him moving forward. But for the rest of the skill players on the team, yeah, Love just doesn't throw the ball enough to get it done. This is the Packers' identity. Running the ball, short passes, controlling the game. All right, what was that other game I forgot on Sunday night? It was like a really boring game. I'm just kidding. Ravens, Bills. Are you serious right now? I went to bed and woke up and the Bills won. And I'm sure, a lot of people in America did. Anyway, when it comes to these 2 teams, you just start everybody. All right. There's really no reason not to. Keon Coleman, he really showed that he's going to be amazing. Really stepped it up a notch with over 100 yards and a touchdown late in the game. Cook caught 5 balls. I mean, he looked dominant. Henry, the dude is not human. I mean, seriously. Derrick Henry, amazing. And then, of course, the quarterbacks. These are your MVPs for this year. So you're going to start everybody on the Ravens and the Bills every single week, period. Moving on. Monday night game, Chicago, Minnesota. Don't call it a comeback. Call it a collapse, okay? Caleb is not a good quarterback. All right, he had one good drive. And then everyone was like, oh, check it out. There it is. It's amazing. Ben Johnson is a crazy, awesome offensive coach. And then what happened? Nothing happened. It was pathetic. I can't believe it. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't throw the ball. Caleb was missing open throws. You just need to get used to it. That's what's going to happen. He can't read defenses. He can't throw with accuracy. He just gets all excited. Expect him to run the ball a little bit, but he's going to be like maybe a top 15 quarterback if he's lucky. Swift is a clear number one running back. You're going to keep doing that. The rookie behind him, he's not even going to have an impact. And then, of course, DJ Moore, he's going to get peppered quite a bit. Adunzi got the lucky touchdown, but this is not the standard. These are guys, if you start them, they're all touchdown dependent. For the Vikings, McCarthy, not stellar, okay? He's growing. He's going to get better, but right now, he's not so good. If you're starting him, you're taking some real risks. He's not going to put up, really huge numbers until maybe late in the season, so you need to temper your expectations, maybe play your backup. I mean, if you got Daniel Jones, I would play Daniel Jones over McCarthy. I know McCarthy has weapons, but seriously, Chicago, their defense is stout. I mean, this was tough for McCarthy. Jetta, he just had an okay game, not really great. Yeah, I know. He finished off strong, but seriously, Hawkinson, not so good. I mean, that's not good usage for a guy that you would expect to be like a top 5, top 7 tight end. Mason versus Jones. Mason is the winner from a speed perspective, but Jones is the one who's trusted in the red zone. If you're starting one of these guys, neither of them are going to get 20 touches in a game unless one of them gets hurt or one of them just goes off. They're both touchdown dependent. Unfortunately, these guys are both RB2s at best, unless something happens to the other one. And that is the end of our show, folks. We talked about a lot. We talked about waivers. We talked about injuries. We gave a recap. Ways you want to think moving forward. This week's coming up, man. It's already Tuesday, and we're talking Redskins. I'm sorry. All right, I still think of them as Redskins. Commanders versus the Packers on Thursday night. So get up for that game. Going to be high scoring, big defense versus big offense. We'll see if Daniels can, wake up a little bit from week 1. Should be awesome. Now, as always, we're going to give a shout out to our men and women in uniform who protect the freedoms that we hold dear. Thank you for your service and sacrifice. And thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, follow us on X, YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you can stay up to date on our latest content. And until then, remember, established dominance isn't just a catchphrase. It's a commitment. Are you ready?